Hello and welcome once again to the Nottingham Hockey Centre, the home of Beeston Hockey Club, the famous Bees. Well, this will be the last live offering of the inaugural season of BeeTV, and we would like to say a big thank you to all who have joined us up there in cyberspace. Just 2 league weekends remain, but still issues to be resolved. The visit today of Wimbledon gives the Bees a chance to confirm their place in the playoffs. A 6-4 defeat to Reading last weekend was a game that the Bees will want to put behind them. We'll bring you some highlights of that in a few minutes' time. Highlights may not be the right expression, though, as far as the game against the Ding is concerned. And Wimbledon, well, 8th in the table, will be no pushover today. Last weekend they beat East Grinstead by 1-0, a result that helped Beeston by holding back their nearest rivals for 3rd place. In many ways, this is a false position for Wimbledon, who on their day and with a full squad are a match for any of the sides in the Premier Division. And we're looking there at the table. Surbiton sit proudly at the top, with Musson, Westminster in not too close pursuit anymore. Then come Beeston, and they've got a 4-point lead at the moment over East Grinstead. Wimbledon right down there in 8th spot, just above the University of Exeter, but as I say, on their day capable of taking points off all and sundry. So the last home match of the season for Beeston, and a chance for them to sign off in style and to give them momentum handing into the playoffs, or at least that's what they'll be hoping.
Good afternoon, everybody. We have a message today from the broadcast sponsor, who is the World Class Players. Just to give you some background there, World Class Players is a coaching organisation based at Nottingham Hockey Centre. We provide fun, engaging and challenging camps for juniors of all abilities. All our sessions are planned meticulously and constantly reworked in order to aid every individual's hockey development whilst maintaining an enjoyable environment. Our philosophy is centred around ensuring that every individual who attends our camps leaves as a better player. We aim to do this by ensuring all sessions are enjoyable, involve constant decision making, have activities that are game realistic, and allow for players to be stretched both mentally and physically. We pride ourselves on having a high coach-to-player ratio, allowing players to have more individual contact time, especially on performance camps. World Class Players sessions use cutting-edge hockey equipment to provide constant variety within sessions and allow for player enjoyment. The ultimate aim of these camps is to identify and nurture future world-class hockey players. All our coaches are either highly qualified through the England hockey system or current high-level players competing at national level for Beeston Hockey Club. There's a website where you can find out more information, www.worldclass.hockey.
Right, I think Steve and I are going to sign up for that, and while we're filling in our forms, we're going to bring you the highlights of last week's game, Reading against Beeston.
On Sunday, out of form, Reading hosted a Beeston side looking fairly comfortable in their top 4 league position. Earlier in the season, this match finished in a 1-1 draw. Let's join Charlie Broom for the best of the action.
Here come Beeston looking to attack down this left-hand channel, and here is Proctor. Proctor fires it into the back of the goal, and Chris Proctor breaks the deadlock within 10 minutes. Reading 0, Beeston 1. Proctor picking it up, spinning and squeezing it into the net. Great start for the visitors. Can they go down this left-hand side, but Reading, well, it's been won back by Beeston, and a chance here perhaps. Here is Proctor once more. Proctor still going. Proctor, oh yes! What a piece of individual skill by Chris Proctor. And 12 minutes after his first, he gets his second, and it's Reading 0, Beeston 2. They won possession high up the park, and Proctor shaped to go on the reverse stick. Look how much work he's got to do. Comes back inside the defenders and squeezes it inside the far post. Dixon with the aerial ball. Here's Proctor again. Proctor's been a real thorn in Reading's side. Proctor into the circle. Can he find another finish? Oh, you bet he can! Proctor has himself a hat-trick inside, 15 first half minutes. His first goal in the 7th minute, his third in the 22nd. And Chris Proctor has given Beeston a cracking start here. Reading 0, Beeston 3. It's another great finish from Proctor. Penalty corner. He drag flick, a little slip, but Lockery fires it into the roof of the net. And Stuart Lockery gets Reading on the scoreboard 5 minutes before the half-time interval. Picks it up and fires it straight into the roof of the net. No stopping that. Reading, can they find a second before the break? Into the circle it comes, and there's the squeeze shot in front of the keeper, and it's been turned in. Stuart Lockery with his second goal in 4 minutes, and that might just change the half-time talk, because instead of going in 3-1 down, Reading will go in 3-2 down, and with the momentum, Lockery has 2 in this one. Penalty corner for Beeston. They go to the right-hand castle. There's the drag flick, a little slip, but it's beaten the keeper. Elliot Hibble restores a 2-goal cushion in the 41st minute. Slips as he takes this, but it goes through the keeper's legs. Agonising for Reading. Down this right-hand side, Lockery plays it forward. He'll go for the return ball, but Reading have an opportunity here. Ball is pulled back, and the ball is turned in by Lee Morton. 19 minutes to go, and Reading have pulled one back. Morton with the finish of some neat work down the right-hand side. Penalty corner for Reading. Goes to the right-hand castle. There's a little dummy on the top, and the ball is deflected, and to the far post. Oh, miscontrol, but it's been turned in. And Reading have levelled it up. Peter Scott, I thought he'd missed the opportunity to level things up with a miscontrol with his first touch, but he regained his composure to finish off. We'll have a look from behind the goal. The double move on the top. The deflection falling to the injector across the face of goal. There is Scott, and I thought there it had gone. And even Hudjwan comes sliding across, pushes it into his goal. Ball across the circle. And Reading still with an opportunity to attack, and the ball has gone in, and Scott has got his second, and can you believe it, Reading are in front, 5-4 now. This game just keeps on giving, and Scott, well, somehow manages to find a way through the Beeston defence. Penalty corner, top of the circle, direct shot, and it's in. Stuart Lockery has his hat-trick, Proctor has his hat-trick, but it's Reading that are going to take the points here. 5 minutes to go. Stuart Lockery beats Hudjwan, and it's Reading 6, Beeston 4. Over the back line, there is the final whistle. What a game we have witnessed here. 2 hat-tricks, one for Stuart Lockery, one for Chris Proctor. But it is Reading that take the points. Final score, Reading 6, Beeston 4.
And so we welcome you back live to the Nottingham Hockey Centre, where the two sides, Beeston and Wimbledon, are lined up over on the far side there ahead of this game with the two umpires between them. The umpires today are Dave Monger, who hails from Woburn, and Campbell Riemann, who's had a somewhat longer journey coming up from Billericay. Picking up Dave, I gather, on the way. Very sensible travelling companions. Let's hope they're still talking to each other at the end of the game. So important game for Beeston as they look to secure the third place in the division and avoid having to play Surbiton in the playoffs. But Wimbledon, having beaten one of the top four candidates last week, we're hoping to do the same again today and upset the Bees. Well, sitting alongside me, we heard from him in the preamble to the game, is once again Steve Musson. Steve, lovely to see you again. What sort of game can we expect today, do you think, after last week's shocker?
Well, I think that's right. I hadn't quite realised we were watching the horror channel there, Nick, but that was a terrible result, really. And if you watched the first 15 minutes against Reading, you'd have thought Beeston were a shoo-in for the points there, but that comeback by Reading was excellent. So a lot of talk this week about how they can make sure that the defence is sorted. They seriously missed Stephen Lawrence in defence last week, who he's been around Beeston for so many years, and he ties that defence down very well. And he was away for the birth of his second child last week, and obviously that was missed by Beeston. So they'll be hoping that that will steady things down a bit, I think.
Well, I think in this season, more than any other, we've had to wait until the teams lined up to see who would be starting in view of the number of international calls that have been. But Wimbledon looked to be getting near to full strength. No Brogdon, no Henry Weir, but plenty of other big names in there, including Wimbledon's captain, Ben Arnold, the former stalwart, of course, of this club. And coming back for Beeston, it's good to see Mark Gleghorn back in club colours again. And Beeston, I'm sure, will be hoping that his corners are working for him today. So there's the Wimbledon group down there. Got off to a terrible start in the season, but have recovered of late and are just starting to show something of their true form.
I think they certainly have recovered, Nick. I was just looking at the form guide. I mean, the last four matches, Beeston drawn, lost, won and lost, but Wimbledon, 4 straight wins. Reflection of them getting back to full strength, as you say. And when they are at full strength, it's a very credible team indeed, despite the fact they're missing 2 or 3 players this weekend.
And with so many international players in both squads, there'll be plenty of bragging rights at stake down there today, I'm sure. So a nice day here for the final home league fixture of the season. Beeston, of course, will be hoping their league season doesn't finish next week. Still looking for the playoff spots. They can cement that today. And Wimbledon, well, perhaps it's been a season for them that they'll be keen to forget. At one point they look as if they may be one of the relegation candidates, but the old adage that they're too good to go down has proved true. And as Steve was saying, their most recent form has been very impressive indeed.
Well, the ever competitive Mikey Hoare said to me just before today's game that he still reckons they can get into the playoffs. So his competitive edge will last right to the end of the season, I'm sure.
Wow, that would be quite something.
So reliant on other results.
I'm just checking his maths, and of course mathematically he's correct.
Yes.
But you need to have the optimism of a Theresa May, I think, to reckon you're going to get that one over the line. Now Wimbledon straight on the front foot here with an attack down the left-hand side, not hanging about. That was Phil Roper, one of the galaxy of international stars. Enjoyed having a word with Phil's father, Keith Roper, who was an umpire of some standing in the early days of the National League.
He was.
Here to watch his son playing today. Really good start this by Wimbledon. Let's watch the attack again, which has led to the corner.
It's feeding the ball in down the baseline with a little bit of height on it. Tricky for defenders, even if they try to step in front of the player to make the defensive tackle. It can still often get through, and it's resulted in that corner very quickly, under a minute.
Beeston's goalkeeper Simon Hudgwin will be looking for some good early touches to give him some confidence, having had that 6 goals past him last week. He needs to put that behind him. New day, and it's starting with a clean sheet, of course. Out it comes. Flick goes in. Hudgman does well with the left foot. Be a long corner.
I
Very
think
important that didn't go in.
Yeah, even though that was straight at him, Nick, I think he'll be pleased to have made that save. It just settles down a bit.
You can have the most vigorous of pre-match warm-ups, but it's still what happens after the first whistle that really counts. Yes, that'll make him feel a whole lot better about things. As will that. But Wimbledon really going for it from the get-go here. Straight onto the front foot. Lots of good urgent movement coming from them, and Beeston just hanging on a little bit in these early exchanges. Now perhaps they can settle as they throw a long one down the field. A couple of bounces. Should see that one harmlessly over the baseline and out of play.
They'll be keen to take that play down the other end of the pitch for a bit. But one of Wimbledon's traits is this high press, high intensity, and certainly it's worked in the first 2 or 3 minutes for them.
The Bees coming through the midfield. Beautiful day weather-wise here. Quite a breeze, but ideal playing conditions.
Neat little move through the midfield. That's nice connections.
Ball fire down towards the left-hand corner flag. Real confidence about Wimbledon in these early knockings.
I think Elliot Heibel would have wanted to, if he was able to see what we've just seen there, he could have done with stepping in front of that running player much quicker and slowing that down. It's too easy, too easily beaten. Interesting way of outletting.
I'm not sure many right backs would have appreciated that pass. A good break on here though for Beeston. Ball played inside, space on the left hand side. They worked the ball there. Wimbledon appealing for the free hit, which
I think it's hit a foot. Oh no, it's Chris Proctor's ball.
Beeston. Another free hit here, or possibly a long corner for Beeston. Couldn't see the umpire signal.
I think if you're going to transfer this ball around the back to get out of those tight areas, the quicker and the sooner the better. Gives you options of getting over to the opposite side of the pitch quickly.
Beeston just starting to get some sort of foothold in the game after that electric start from the visitors.
Just thinking back to the Hampstead game a couple of weeks ago, Nick, the control that Beeston had in that game is exactly the sort of control they're going to need today. And it was this type of play that was a strength for them. Decent ball pace, accurate passing.
No way through this time. Beeston now matching Wimbledon for pace. We'll play down again towards the baseline. Good patient start coming from the Bees. Gleeson plays the ball patiently all the way back.
You can already see that little bit of extra control that Stephen Lawrence introduces to the back four.
A little bit of a push in the back there, picked up by the umpire.
Nice early cross, didn't quite make its target, but could have been troublesome. Nice to see Ben Arnold back at the club, having established himself as the Wimbledon skipper.
Yes, good servant to this club.
Very good indeed, yes. Excellent. Great character, good hockey player.
And you were telling me other Beeston connections as well with a coach, Gareth Hall.
Yeah, he
and
was
Mikey Hoare too.
Yeah, Gareth was one of the forwards here at Beeston for 2 or 3 seasons. Unfortunately, he had a disc problem in his back, and I think that's seen him onto the coach's bench, but I understand he's enjoying that. Mikey Hoare as well was here for 3 seasons, so again, nice to see him back. Having got over his injuries, which caused him a few issues with his England and Great Britain stuff, but it tells me his foot's healed quite well now. So.
Always nice to see old boys welcome back into the fold. High ball over the top, but nicely cut out.
Stick block, I think, was the decision there. Aerials, 2 aerials from Beeston. Interesting, really, because they've been cross pitch, and both of them looked like they were risky. The first one they got away with. The second one was picked off by a Wimbledon player. So need to think about that, I think.
Just a little slip at an unfortunate moment there. Presents Wimbledon with possession again with a sideline ball.
Needs to be keen to avoid those little turnovers there. That's given the possession right back to Wimbledon in a dangerous place.
Ian Lewis, nice to see Ian still enjoying his club hockey. Important challenge there put in. That was Jonty Griffiths losing out.
Staying low and patience in those tackles is going to be an important requirement from Beeston defence today with this pressure from Wimbledon.
Oh, lovely bit of skill on the ball by Beeston, worked into the circle. Well, a dive in at the far post there, wasn't far away from getting the telling connection.
Nice early cross. Chris Proctor again setting things up nicely there. Nick, he's had a pretty good season, and his goal scoring's been good. His hat-trick last weekend.
Hat-trick in a losing team.
Yes.
That doesn't happen very often. Almost found myself saying a few moments ago the first goal so important, but thought better of it, remembering that Beeston had scored the first 3 goals last week, and it still wasn't enough. Mistrap in the circle presents Beeston with a long corner opportunity here. Thrown out to the left-hand side.
Yes, Chris Proctor's hat-trick took him to 7th or 8th in the scorers list for the league. Obviously Alan Forsyth leads by a fair old distance with his 25 goals this season. But Chris Proctor's up there with 8 now. 3 behind Simon Faulkner, so he's done all right this year.
He's done very well. Nice work.
Very nice. Too easy to get through though from the Beeston point of view.
Carving away through the fence. Shot comes in. And we've got our first goal here. Well, you could see it coming. A lovely finish. Eugene Malthouse taking the applause out there, but that was a scything run. Let's enjoy it again here, Steve.
Well, that's the second point, and the third point where Beeston could have made the tackle, and again maybe there. So they've escaped 4 times in that little run through, and very slick through the middle. But really, Beeston have got to close that down.
So we've got our opening goal, and it's gone to the visitors. And Beeston will need to look at their defensive qualities there. They were cut open far too easily.
Well, the skills of the midfield players is to spot those kind of runs. It's too easy to think that the man behind will make the tackle. You've got to be 100% sure and stop that progression, particularly across the halfway line into what then becomes open space.
So not the start Beeston would have wanted, but probably on the balance of play, just about a justifiable lead here for the visitors.
I said before, the proper response is now to go and get a set piece or create some trouble at the other end. This early in the game, it's important to give as good as you get, I think. Wimbledon progressing the whole group up the pitch quite nicely. 2, 3 at the back at times, and puts a lot more players further forward, and this is where they're getting their space from.
Enjoying a lot of possession on this left-hand side. Wimbledon look very comfortable with the ball out on their left flank. Using the full width of this Nottingham Hockey Centre pitch.
Yeah, they seem to have all passes available at the moment. The ones into the middle of the pitch, the ones to the flank, and the pressure from Beeston's got to be increased.
Access all areas.
Yeah.
Well, you can understand if Beeston's defence are a little bit nervous after what happened last week. I did promise myself not to talk too much about last week, for fear of bringing back painful memories to the Beeston faithful.
It's very difficult to watch those highlights in the middle of the week.
I'm sure. Well, that's sport for you. 1 week you can look invincible in defence, keep your opponents at bay.
And I think, to be fair to Beeston, Nick, they've the position in the league is good for them. A lot of youngsters into the side this season.
Well, it's been a great season.
And Stephen Wood has brought them on superbly well. And when the internationals have been missing, they've had some really good results.
They've coped very well with that. I think it's the constant churn of players that's made life difficult for all the teams this season. Never quite knowing where you're going to be. Difficult for the people coming back in, difficult for the people obviously who have to fill the shoes of the international squad players.
Some interference for Wimbledon from the EHL at the start of this season as well, or not interference, but something they had to concentrate on in addition to the league. Things that just distracted them, I think, at the start of the season.
True enough. Wimbledon's closing is energetic in these early exchanges, not giving Beeston any time on the ball at all. And that pressure's creating 1 or 2 unforced errors. Beeston just need to remain patient here and stay in the game, knowing that they will have moments, they will have chances. Breaks free on the left-hand side again.
I think there is a slight tempo difference between the two sides at the moment, and Beeston need to work that out as a group and just increase their intensity a bit. As you say, Wimbledon closing everything down very quickly. Loving the turnovers, and that's Another area for Beeston to improve. Run through the middle again.
That's where they look most dangerous. Good use of the ball again by Wimbledon here.
So the minute you break through the midfield line as a ball carrier, it then becomes difficult for the defence to decide who's going to take that man. Everybody has a job, and
Yeah, it's a product of communication, isn't it?
It is.
It's perhaps not quite happening at the moment. One thing for sure, Steve, somebody's got to take responsibility.
they have.
Latest scores. Oh, Reading have been at it again. 5-2 winners over Exeter University there.
Full of confidence after last week, I think, Nick. That's carried that on nicely.
So that moves Reading up the table and on to 24 points now, the same as East Grinstead, but they'll still be behind East Grinstead on goal difference.
Yes.
Been a tough season for University of Exeter, as I think we might have expected.
And they've played some great hockey as well, and but it is difficult. We've sort of discussed this before, haven't we? Coming through the playoffs and finding yourself in the Premier League, it's a big jump for them.
Massive.
They'll be likely contesting the playoffs against the likes of Old Georgians and Bowden, and haven't.
It's going to be pretty competitive, isn't it?
Interesting clubs in that playoff now, with Bowden from obviously close to Brooklands up in the northwest, and haven't south coast, so big distances apart.
Certainly are. Wimbledon calling for the foots, and the umpire's consulting and agreeing with them. So another penalty corner opportunity here for the visitors to increase their lead.
Stephen Lawrence not happy with that. I think he thought that was lifted into him. Still talking to the umpire about it.
Dave Monger on the far side, I think, saying he took his signal from his colleague. A tall number 9 figure there, that's Ed Haller, who was a student not too far from here, down the road at Loughborough.
Ed Haller 5th in the list of scorers for the league with his tally of 13, so he'll be very happy with this season.
So 2 castles here for Wimbledon. Out it comes. It comes for Haller.
That's hit.
It's hit him high, so it'll be a hit out to the defence. It's Beeston's number 9, Mark Leghorn, who's been in the wars a bit recently.
He has.
So this one's nothing too serious. Umpire calling for a timeout here while Leghorn assesses the damage.
He's always been happy to do this number 1 running, but he has taken a few hits in his career. And there's another one there. I think that's his hand.
No, that was his cricket box.
It was his cricket box, yes.
I thought you were seeing
Just
something
threw-
being thrown off the pitch.
That's right. I think
He's
it
a
was
nasty player, but he's not lost his hand.
That's right. He's not lost his hand there.
Seems to be okay. Tough customer, you would have to say, Mark Leghorn.
Yes, yeah. He's had a couple of weeks out with a hip injury, and he's now been clobbered again. So
never rains, but it pours.
Important to defend that corner. 2-0 at this point
Oh,
would
absolutely,
be
absolutely
horrible, really. So, and there is space for Beeston. They just need to retain a little bit more possession higher up the pitch. They need Chris Proctor to do some of his this sort of running and retain the possession. Here he goes again.
Just not able to hold on to the ball for any length of time.
No,
not able to
that's
establish any sort of pressure on the Wimbledon defence. We've looked very comfortable so far.
I think when you're playing a team that's as intense as they are at the moment, you know, holding that ball high for periods of time, take a bit of steam out of their attacks, very important. But another turnover there, in the exactly the same position.
Beeston's final league game of the season will be away to Sevenoaks next week. Sevenoaks, of course, already relegated, but sometimes when the pressure's off, that's when you produce the surprise result. So even that game, Beeston can't rely on. They really want to take something from today.
They do.
If they can. Not going their way at the moment, but still plenty of time for them to find their A game.
They'll be keen to stay in third place. I think they won't relish playing Surbiton in the playoffs if they indeed stay in the top four. I think they'd feel more comfortable playing Hampstead. Not that that would be easy, because Hampstead are a very good side anyway. But Surbiton have just got that extra edge, I think, with the side that they've got.
Carl Marshall, who was missing last time I was up here at Beeston. I think he had a week off through illness.
He did, yes.
Good to see
Picked
Carl
up
back again.
a nasty bug.
Whole raft of Ulstermen playing in the game today. Carl being one of them. Decision's gone in favour of Wimbledon. Eager to find a ball.
Yeah, Joe Sharp just getting caught earlier than he needed to, I think.
There's real urgency about the Wimbledon team, but I'm not sure that Beeston are matching.
No, they're
Steve,
not.
at the moment.
They're not.
And they're turned again in the midfield, rather too easily.
It's all sort of scrambled defence work at the moment from Beeston, and they need more control, and particularly when they've won possession, need to hold it for longer periods of time. But Wimbledon really hunting down the man on the ball. There's a good example there, but at least Beeston have got that out.
Now, a little more space on the right hand side to be worked with here. Robbie Gleeson. Been Mr. Consistency this season for Beeston.
He's had a good season, has Robbie.
Good.
Yeah, Wimbledon marking, or should I say closing down the receiving player very, very quickly. And this is the way that Beeston will deal with it best, these quicker transfers.
Too many white shirts back there this time. Phil Roper just missing out.
A few little signs for Beeston that their tempo is a bit better, although that's not helpful. That's quite a shot. Some power behind that, and Simon Hudgman again, be pleased that he's watched that all the way through.
Going to rebound on the clearance there from Hudgman. Sideline ball here for the Bees.
Adam
Beeston
Dixon
again.
and Robbie Gleeson will be important in this game, the two in the midfield. Slightly better idea from Beeston there, the Robbie Gleeson dropping out into the back line and allowing Stephen Lawrence to get forward and find a forward pass. But again, the same thing, it needs to be held further up the pitch for longer.
So 10 minutes left in the first half here. Beeston 0, Wimbledon 1.
I think under the circumstances, Beeston will be fairly comfortable with it only being 1 at the moment, as long as it stays that way. After all the attacks they've had to deal with.
Yeah, based on the assumption that they're going to get more of the ball as the game goes on, you would
Yes.
expect.
That's right.
Wimbledon scrambling to keep the ball in play there. Good mobile goalkeeping coming from James Bailey.
It does interest me how often you find in games, even when there's a dominant side, that there's a patch that doesn't quite work for them, and Beeston will be keen to get to that within some striking distance of getting back into the game. So
Absolutely right.
a few little signs that they've settled a bit more. Set piece would be nice, but again, turnover.
A little bit telegraphed and very well anticipated by Wimbledon. They really do look as if they've come here meaning business. Perhaps those words of, was it Mikey Hoare telling you they hadn't ruled out
Absolutely,
the playoffs?
yes.
Maybe this is the motivation they're finding. Gleeson. Nice
Now this is a good position.
deception. Fires one in.
Come on forwards, need to get down for that, to try and get something on it.
Yes.
Two youngsters, Gareth Griffiths and Henry Croft there.
Looking for a little deflection. Didn't fully commit to it.
No.
This Nottingham Hockey Centre is going to be have a busy week. Finals of the British Universities and Colleges Sports Cup are being held here on Wednesday.
That'll be a well-attended event, Nick, I
It'll
imagine.
be a very well attended event, that's for sure. A wonderful centre, as it proved last year. 2 men's finals, 2 women's finals as well.
Good work. Joe Sharp on the ball.
There will be drink taken.
I think that's right. It's
These
one of those occasions, isn't it?
It wasn't like that in my day, I can tell you. It was a lot cheaper.
Yes. There's no shortage of brewers around here, Nick. That's
No, that's true. It doesn't make it any cheaper though, does it? It's nice work.
you can see how this retained possession gives you many more opportunities. It's little distances like that that need to be taken out, because you want it 2 or 3 times when you're getting into the D, certainly when you're looking for that set piece. With Mark Leghorn and Elliot Hybel, a set piece or 2 would be very useful.
Yes, particularly if they can win some penalty corners. Ball fired in. Wimbledon having to work very hard to keep their feet out of the way of the ball. It's a long corner. Nothing like as dangerous as its short cousin.
Much better since it's been taken from the 23, I think.
Fabulous ball over the top. And look at the break on here for Wimbledon. Now it's to be a finish here. Player's gone down. Umpire's blown in favour of the defence.
He's had to work hard there to get back into any kind of order.
It's a terrific throw out of defence though from Wimbledon. Well, this is better from Beeston. Seeing a little more of the ball. Starting to apply some pressure on that Wimbledon circle. which has been missing for the first 25 minutes or so. So we're approaching the half-hour mark here.
It's another little example there of how Beeston could have improved that attack. It could have been collected on the first touch by Gareth Griffiths.
Jack Waller having to step in quickly there to keep Beeston at bay. This is Peter Friend.
Adam Dixon quickly over then to close that down.
Phil Roper just trying to chop the ball over his stick. Quite a gathering of recent and current England and Great Britain captains out there today, with Ian Sloane and Phil Roper in Wimbledon colours.
Yes.
Adam Dixon, the current incumbent, of course, of Beeston. And I've got a sneaking suspicion that Ian Lewis will have been a captain on a few occasions.
Yes, yeah.
As well.
Two 17-year-olds in shot there as on the forward line for Beeston. Gareth Griffiths, Henry Croft, Richard Lawrence making up the third forward.
Yeah, sometimes we forget just how young some of these players are.
Well, it was a bit of an intention from Stephen Wood's point of view to try and develop the next good team from Beeston, and you do that, of course, by bringing youngsters through, and they've had good seasons. A lot of experience, a lot of pitch time.
Well, that's where you learn. Sitting on the bench is one thing, but doing the business out there on the turf is altogether different. So a little more than 3 minutes to go in this first half here at the Nottingham Hockey Centre. Beeston 0, Wimbledon 1.
Good turnover there for Beeston.
Beeston just starting to come good in these closing minutes of the first half. What a chance here! Oh, how has that stayed out? Well, what an opportunity that was. It's a long corner, but that was Mark Leghorn bursting through. Somewhat unfamiliar territory there.
Yes, it's. I thought for all the world that was going to be a goal then, but it was good goalkeeping. James Bailey right in line with the shot.
So Beeston creating a couple of opportunities late on here in the first half, but still trailing by that one goal. Well, Wimbledon really would have kicked themselves if Beeston had forced an equaliser there. They've got themselves into a strong position with a dominant first half performance, just going off the boil a bit as we approach half time. Less than 2 minutes remaining now. Makes such a difference to Beeston and their team talk if they could find an equaliser from somewhere here.
Still waiting for that elusive first penalty corner. Credit to the very good Wimbledon defence that's kept that tally to 0.
Beeston trying their luck down the left hand side. Nice turn away from the opponent.
Attempted a cross, has deflected straight back out into the path of the Wimbledon players.
This is where Wimbledon looks so dangerous. So on the break.
Adam Dixon disappointed with the decision there.
Sloane works it out to the left hand side. Looking to link up
Dangerous.
with Roper. Here is Roper. Turns inside, but there was no space there.
Gleeson-Dixon connection again. Just calming things down a bit. Tight in there. Yep, that's well worked out by Beeston.
It's got
Nice
to go route
accurate
one
passing.
though here.
It has.
Time running out. Our clock may not be 100% accurate in terms of the matching up with the umpires, but we must be close to the half-time hooter. Well, not only are we close, we're at half-time. Didn't even hear the umpires whistle or the half-time hooter sounding there. So half-time here at the Nottingham Hockey Centre. A fast and entertaining game so far, but it's Beeston who trail against the visitors Wimbledon here by 1-0. Steve and I are going to take a short break, but we'll be back with all of the first half, all the second half action for you after this. Attack down the left-hand side, not hanging about. That was Phil Roper, one of the galaxy of international stars. Enjoyed having a word with Phil's father, Keith Roper, who was an ump last week. He used to put that behind him. New day, and it's starting with a clean sheet, of course. Out it comes. Flick goes in. Hudgman does well with the left foot. Be a long call. Lovely bit of skill on the ball by Beeston. Worked into the circle. Well, a dive in at the far post there. Wasn't far away from getting the telly. This is nice work.
Very nice. Too easy to get through, though, from the Beeston point of view.
Carving away through the fence. Shot comes in. And we've got our first goal here. Well, you could see it coming. A lovely finish.
Although that's not helpful. That's quite a shot. Some power behind that, and
Before telling you they hadn't ruled out.
Absolutely.
Yes. Maybe this is the motivation they're finding. Gleeson. Nice.
Now this is a good position.
Deception. Fires one in.
Come on forwards. Need to get down for that to try and get something on it.
It's a 0. Wimbledon 1.
Good turnover there for Beeston.
Beeston just starting to come good in these closing minutes of the first half. What a chance here! Oh, how has that stayed out? Well, what an opportunity that was. It's a long corner. But
when you succeed.
We succeed.
So we listen.
We tailor. And we invest in you.
We are innovators.
We deliver results.
And world-class service.
We are always developing.
Learning and growing.
And getting better at what we do.
Supporting your business.
We make technology effortless.
And more than just a means to an end.
We're the team who serve.
And advise you.
All to help you achieve.
And surpass your goals.
We're super.
We're honest.
And go the extra mile.
We're winners.
And team players. And together,
We're the managed service provider.
We're Air IT.
we're Air IT. We're Air IT.
You're number one for IT and comms.
I played at the highest level for Holland since I was 17. First you start as a talented little girl and just go and play, and now you really have to carry the team. A lot of the media, they always write things about you, but it's not important. I know what I can do, and the people that I really care about, they always believed in me. And I've always been a fighter. Even when you think you can't go anymore, you just keep on going because of your team. My position in the field is important, but without the others, I'm a no one. Speed is very important. There isn't room for error, actually. It's just me, opponents, and my teammates. You have to give it your all, no mercy. Every competition we play, you just want to win. When you step on the podium, it's just best feeling in the world. It is hard to dare and dream about winning, but we know if we play well, we can beat anyone.
All the support you can give them in that second.
To miss the start of that second half, please make your way to the spectator galleries ready for the start of the second 25 minutes.
Welcome back then to the Nottingham Hockey Centre. Beeston out slightly ahead of Wimbledon for the start of the second half, with the words no doubt of Stephen Wood ringing in their ears. Beeston 0, Wimbledon 1. Wimbledon's goal from Jack Waller, the difference between the two teams at half time. But it's a scoreline that is a fair reflection of what we saw in the first 35 minutes, with the Wimbledon starting very quickly indeed, and it took Beeston pretty much 25 minutes to get some sort of foothold into the game, and they're going to need to have a completely different approach, Steve, to the second half and show a little more confidence in their own abilities.
Yes, I think the last 10 minutes up to half time was a little bit more in it for Beeston.
Much
They had
better.
the chance from Mark Leghorn, a couple of chances to win corners which they didn't quite take, so maybe they'll just be able to carry that on a bit, but I would expect Wimbledon to try to resort to the tempo and the intensity they had at the start of the game now. So again, Beeston are going to have to be very switched on to that.
Well, we've made much throughout the season of Beeston's potency at the penalty corners, and Mark Leghorn is playing again today, and Elliot Heibel has been on sparkling form as well at the set piece. But in that first 35 minutes, Beeston weren't able to produce a single corner. So our theory perhaps remains untested.
Yes.
Wimbledon will be well pleased with their first half's performance, that's for sure. But how much have they got left in the tank? How much did that first hard-running 35 minutes take out of them? We're about to find out. Wimbledon straight onto that left-hand side again. They've had some success. Beeston playing the ball around patiently and then firing one forward. Well, a little more patience required perhaps. They can't afford these cheap turnovers.
They can't. All the space in the world for that to be a connecting pass and just to fire it straight at a Wimbledon player is not a very good idea.
I don't know if there's a carryover from last week's game, but certainly some nerves.
I think that's right. Yeah,
Beeston. They're looking unsure of their stopping, and their passing moves as well.
I think they were very disappointed with that turnaround by Reading last week, and played on their minds a bit more than probably it should do as far as today's game is concerned. But still very much in this, and there's really quite a few opportunities towards the half time that I think will give them the confidence to take this on.
Beeston restarting.
Nick Park getting caught twice there. I think he's got some lovely skills, but he needs to make sure he's escaping from those defenders.
Ed Haller giving the umpire the glare there, wondering whether his opponent was going to pick up a card.
Nick Park's done a lot better there. That's good. Good work to recover the ball. A good pass off.
Crowd on that far side enjoying some very pleasant afternoon sun. Spring is definitely in the air. Great to see the hedges turning colour on my way up to the East Midlands this morning.
There's an improvement from 2 weeks ago.
Just a bit. Just a bit. Well, we've seen all sorts, haven't we, this during this short season. Hail and snow, floods.
Yeah.
Spring definitely in the air.
Slower pace from Wimbledon in this first 5 minutes.
once you get yourself into the playoffs, the season almost starts again, doesn't it?
It does.
Anyone's game once you're in that top 4 grouping.
It is. It's a good part of the season, really, and of course it does keep things alive throughout the league. As we said earlier, there's mathematically any of the top 8 sides could get themselves into that top 4. Probably unlikely, but nevertheless, there's always that bit to play for. Brooklands is an interesting one, who went from trying to fight against relegation to a situation where, again, mathematically they could get into the top 4.
Yeah, you start putting a few results together and it all opens up in front of you.
Nice deal there.
But the converse is also true, of course. Now, this is better from Beeston. There's something from here. Ball fired in, but again it finds a defender's stick.
It's a bit unfortunate that, because the pass out to Chris Proctor took him very narrow and out to the wider side of the D, which didn't give him much of an option to get any kind of a shot. Much better hunting by the Beeston forwards here. And it's led to the turnover, and this is the sort of thing that Beeston are going to have to do.
Well, that's exactly what Wimbledon did to them in the first half, of course. So it looks as if Stephen Woods has been trying to channel some of that Wimbledon aggression into his own team here. Not something that Beeston teams traditionally have ever been short of.
No, that's usually
Always
been
full of fight and verve. Almost losing out there. That
little
could
moments.
still be dangerous.
I never understand players missing little passes like that after the pitches I used to have to play on.
Well, no, quite. Yeah, we have to keep reminding ourselves we used to play on grass. It wasn't always the smoothest, was it?
No. Gleason's pace. Again, that's a great bit of work through the middle of the park, just as Wimbledon did to Beeston in the first half, but the connecting pass has easily been turned over, and it just breaks everything down.
Beeston just looking for a little bit of composure.
They are.
And a little touch of magic perhaps as well. Just something to ignite them. You feel it's not far away, but not quite there at the moment.
Very nicely worked corner from Wimbledon. That is such a shame, with Beeston having momentum and all but for a trap at the far end, and it's a corner against. And that's what happens. The trigger point was very high up the pitch.
Are these the ones that really hurt you? Again, good movement. And smart, clever play in the circle there. Looking for the foot, finding the foot. Result, penalty corner. So Wimbledon have had a couple of these. Ian Lewis on the far side of the circle hasn't been tried so far, and won't be tried this time either, because it looks like he's going to be the man to inject the ball from the baseline. It's not to say he won't be receiving a return pass though.
Mark Gleghorn lining up for the number 1 run again. He seems to relish it.
Takes all sorts.
And he's got there.
Well, that's real determination and bravery. You would have to say at the top of the circle, from the attacker's point of view, to see Mark Gleghorn steaming down in your direction is something of a frightener.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to meet him on a dark night, or even on a bright one for that matter, with the street lights on.
I think this is the time now where Beeston need to get that set piece. This is they've had a bit of momentum. They've broken down that corner. Bit of extra composure, as you were saying, Nick, just to create a good opportunity.
can't afford to do is concede a second either here.
No.
Wimbledon looking dangerous on the break still. Ooh, that's good work. Beeston just about surviving that one. Free hit outside
Quite
the
tidy
circle.
enough.
Taken quickly. Tibble under pressure. Beeston conceded the free hit. It's taken very quickly.
Decent work from Henry Croft there. I think that could have gone his way. I think. Nicely taken away.
Adam Dixon under pressure, but coping well. Was the son of a quality player that gets his pass away despite the pressure of the opponent. Griffiths running down towards the corner. Two white shirts for company, and it's one of them that comes away with the ball.
Difficult in those corners to generate anything purposeful, really, unless you can get that ball out quickly.
Good work from Sloan. Carries on now for Wimbledon, drifting out towards that left-hand side, but Beeston quickly in, but the whistle's gone. On this near side, Campbell Riemann penalising the home team here.
Robbie Gleeson thought he'd taken the ball there, but
Campbell Riemann, the umpire on this side, it's his first visit to Beeston today. Indeed, the first time he's umpired the Bees. Not proving a lucky talisman for Beeston so far.
another little situation where the pass wasn't accurate. They've got away with that, Beeston, but I think it needs to be a bit more clinical in this passing.
Mark Gleghorn playing very high.
That's nicely taken.
Beeston trying to get themselves back on the front foot here.
Oh, that's unlucky.
Unlucky, but also unhelpful in the great scheme of things.
Adam Dixon had done so much work there to create that, winning the ball and then taking it into that right-hand side, and then he's just missed the pass.
Yes, and if you're going to put money on a player to miss the pass, you wouldn't.
It wouldn't be him.
Expect it to be Adam.
And he's not the sort of player to criticise the passer of the ball either.
No, he'll criticise himself until the cows come home, but tends not to get on the backs of others. A very clever ball out to this right-hand side. This is Sloan.
Gleghorn's found a pass there, Elliot Highball on the ball. And now Nick Park. Fairly well done, that.
It's better from Beeston, finding the space out on that right-hand side. Once again, there are a couple of white shirts come in, get the player on the ball, head down. Means they can't spot the next pass.
Pace from Robbie Gleeson. He still have the ball.
Still plenty of time for Beeston, but you sense that they'd like to get on the scoreboard sooner rather than later.
Not be quite creating enough opportunities, shots, well certainly not corners, but
no, you're right.
As well.
They've been good up to a point, but
yes,
in and around the circle they've been strangely off their game. And there's the second goal. And Wimbledon taking full advantage there. Beeston's defence, I've got something to say about it. The umpire under some pressure there from Gleghorn. Let's watch this one again, Steve.
Yeah, Mark's not happy with the lifted ball there into his arm. He feels that was too high.
But what happened after that?
And then I think it was a ball in from the right, deflected just underneath Simon Hujwan.
Well, it's rather a soft goal. And it's a goal that gives Beeston a real problem here because they trail Wimbledon now by 2-0.
Just what they didn't want. It's two's a big distance when you're in this situation against a side like Wimbledon, unless they get back into it quickly.
Yeah, big 5 minutes coming up, I think, here for Beeston. The frustration just showing with
lots of appealing,
lots of gesticulation going on in the direction of the umpires. We'll need to keep a lid on this. Mark Gleghorn was complaining about the high ball played at him quite early in the move that led to that second goal. But
he was.
There was an awful lot of hockey still to be played before they ended up in the back of the Beeston net. Looks as if conceding that second goal has somehow stung the Bees into renewing and redoubling their efforts here, and that's what they need. Again, Gleghorn with a head in hands moment.
I think Beeston will rue these passes that have been straight to Wimbledon players. There's another one earlier on in that last build-up that should have been a connecting pass. They've got to sort that out if they've got any chance of getting back into this. Continuation of Wimbledon's form, though. The last 4 fixtures they've not particularly found very difficult. I think the closest one was East Grinstead 1-0.
This is better from Beeston, attacking that circle again. Just eased away from it again.
And I think that's... I think that's, they feel that's a corner that looked like it was in the D.
He's given it right on the edge of the circle, I think. Beeston moving the ball out, trying to play the ball back into the circle, but Wimbledon not being caught out by any tricks here at all. So 18 minutes remaining. Beeston need a goal from somewhere here. He waved on. Ball looked a little high, but certainly came off the foot as well. Leg, in fact.
Experienced Wimbledon defenders there, just watching and waiting, pouncing at the right moment, keeping the feet out of the way.
Well, I know, Steve, that when you and I looked at the Wimbledon team sheet, we both looked at who'd got available today and said this is a strong Wimbledon team.
Yes.
And it is, and it's the experience as much as anything else that is seeing them leading here. They've not panicked at any point. They've kept their concentration. And in both circles, which is where games are won and lost, they've been at their best.
Yes, yeah. And I think when you look at the, as we said, the Beeston forwards, their age range playing against the likes of an Ian Lewis, you've got to move on in your own game quite a way to outfox him.
A good, clever transfer again from Wimbledon. More pressure on the Beeston circle here. Ball bouncing around, it's not clear. Wimbledon back on the ball again.
Very scrappy.
And it's another penalty corner. Very untidy play there, deep in the Beeston defence. Just need to get their heads screwed back on again here, Beeston.
They do. It doesn't actually matter how untidy it is for Wimbledon in the attacking roles, but for Beeston, they need to be clinical in defence, and there's 3 or 4 opportunities to make a good stick on ball tackle, and they've missed them all.
get the feeling, looking at the Beeston body language at the moment, one or two of them think that some of the decisions haven't gone their way today, and you often see this with teams, but never the team that's winning.
Yes.
And they need to change that if they're going to get something out of this game.
It's that feeling of being hard done to, and I think you have to get rid of it really and play the game.
I don't think they have been. I think
no, I
they've been
agree.
Architects of their own problems here. Good save. Keeper. Can Beeston break? Well, ambitious pass.
Ollie Willar's in that dreadful position there of having the ball with a big glove on and his face mask still trying to have to make a pass, which he did very well.
It's not easy. Often you see players trying to throw their face mask and glove back off over their shoulders, but it's not easy.
Well worked by Richard Lawrence, got the ball back.
All the way through.
I sometimes think in those situations, bearing in mind the rules of the receiving player from an aerial, it would have been better maybe if Gareth Griffiths had dropped away from the player. As it happened, he missed it. He might have had a chance to pick something up.
Yeah, I would suspect there's not too much clarity of thought going on in the Beeston minds at the moment as they struggle to come to terms with the situation again here.
Yes, you can get drawn into that habit of just trying to throw the ball into what you think is a dangerous area, but often it gets there out of control. Because they're better off being patient, seeing if they can build a chance. A goal at this point would make a difference.
Yes, I think from a viewer's point of view, Steve, let alone the Beeston fans' point of view, the game needs a Beeston goal. But Wimbledon managing the clock as just as well as they're managing their opponent at the moment, with some ease.
Very difficult to get past these Wimbledon defenders. Wimbledon just staying comfy on the ball in that corner, waiting for Beeston to try to win it back and just taking the free hit.
Ian Lewis plays the ball into the midfield.
I think the one thing Beeston have done well, they've been able to regain possession a lot of times. It's what they've done afterwards. It's been less effective, but they're still putting themselves into the last part of the pitch and the opportunity here for a corner.
That was the closing stages of the first half, where either Wimbledon tired or Beeston suddenly got the bit between their teeth. They want that sort of grandstand finish here. They've got about 12 minutes to go, and they've got one back. Or have they? No, it's been chalked off by the umpire. Again, acknowledging the signal from this this near side. So more frustrations for Beeston.
Absolutely, it's
no real complaints from them though about it.
Plenty of appealing, but I don't think there was a conviction there that that had been put in the net properly.
At least they've shown that they know the way to goal now.
quick on the restart there.
Straight through the middle of the circle. Out of play on this this near side. Good early strike forward.
Oh. Mike Hall and Chris Proctor having a bit of a disagreement then on whose that should have been.
Umpire, I think, electing to have a word. Not seen any cards produced as yet. Proctor and Hall. Proctor wants to continue the debate. Just needs to calm down. It's good to see the aggression, and quite frankly, that's what Beeston need a little bit more of it.
They do.
But not like that.
Not like that.
Needs to be channeled.
Bit of a test for the new umpire. Just needs to sort that out and let the game carry on.
Well, he's kept the players on the pitch, which I think was his main aim in the conversation.
Yes, yeah.
Sometimes the players make it very difficult for you to do that, though. They continue to protest.
Part of that understanding that they need as umpires, just satisfactorily defended by Simon Hudgran there. He was in a good position.
So into the last 10 we go. Beeston 0, Wimbledon 2.
And they've won it.
Now, can they make something of this one? They have to believe that they will get opportunities in these closing stages.
Well, they've got a corner.
Well, that's a start. That at least is a start. Now, can they make something of it here? It's taken a full hour, but they have their first penalty corner of the game here.
Just interested to see who they've got on the pitch at the moment for the corner. Yes, Mark Gleghorn's there.
Gleghorn just measuring out his run in. Well, like I won't say a fast bowler, a very short run for a fast bowler, but a leggy perhaps, a gleggy. Can he do the business?
Well, if he's going to put Beeston back into this, he's going to have to get 1 from 1.
Well, he's well capable of doing that, of course. But James Bailey is no mean goalkeeper.
Good injection. Missed trap.
Work to the right hand side. Adam Dixon on it. It's come off the back of the stick, I think, so it'll be another penalty corner. Bit of good fortune there, I think, for Beeston.
The problem of not having many corners, they've missed the trap on the first one.
Was it a little wider than he wanted? I think it
probably
was.
Yes. It was the injection here.
Well, I'm tempted to use the word inexcusable, but it's easier from up here and it is from down there, I'm sure. Better this time. Gleghorn in. Bailey with a save. The follow-up's there. And forced. Oh,
it's not run for Beeston again.
Umpire perfectly positioned. The rules in favour of the defence again. So Beeston with a couple of corners, giving them renewed hope, perhaps.
They're going to need another one quickly if they're going to have a chance here. Clock's ticking down.
Well, they may well decide to take some risks here and play more players in offensive positions. The game's slowly but surely just running away from them a little bit here.
just heard, Nick, that Hampstead have beaten EG 2-1.
Okay, so that result on your screen there, Hampstead and Westminster 2, East Grinstead 1. It's good news as far as Beeston are concerned.
It certainly sorts out the question of qualification for the playoffs. It's just depending on what happens in the Holcombe Brooklands game.
That's good news for Wimbledon as well, of course, because it's East Grinstead over the side that they will have in their sights here. A win for Wimbledon today would move them on to 22 points. East Grinstead are marooned on 24, still 2 points clear. Holcombe's result is still awaited.
That makes life difficult for East Grinstead.
Yes.
I think they've got a fixture against Exeter at home, so they would like to think they would get the points there, but as you said earlier, Nick, those last games can often be unusual.
You never know. So some jockeying for position at the top of the English League.
And I think it'd be mixed feelings for Beeston, really, because they will have qualified, but of course the last few games have not been exactly at the quality they would want them to be.
No. They almost need to forget the last couple of games and start again, which the playoffs do give you that chance.
That's right.
One just running away from the Bees again though here as we go into the last 5 minutes. Wimbledon leading by the 2 goals and looking good for the 3 points.
I think only winning the one corner in the rear warded corner has been a bit of an issue for Beeston, but having said that, they've not really worked the opportunities, and Wimbledon defence is very strong. It's been well organised.
Well, Wimbledon started the game at a cracking pace, and although they have slowed a little in the second half, they're still playing a very nice brand of hockey, attractive to watch. Frustrating at times to play against.
Beeston still trying to get this ball to the into the Wimbledon D.
Dixon finds some space on the left-hand side for Beeston.
Highball not fully in control of that. This allows Wimbledon to take time to get this ball away.
Yes, the service to the Beeston top players has not been great today. Oh, what about that for a finish? And Wimbledon finishing the game off in real style here. Ball shelled across. And Beeston concede a third.
Yeah, I think that was I thought that was a shot straight to the goal at first, but I think it was a cross.
I think Hauler's got a touch on, doesn't he? Hard to
put it in the net.
Tell from that replay, but I think that's a Hauler goal. And I think that we can safely say that Wimbledon are going to leave this one with all 3 points now.
I think so.
Any hopes of a Beeston comeback, unlikely as it seemed at 2-0, now completely vanished at 3. Well, some food for thought for Stephen Wood's boys here.
Yeah, I think that's right. They need some quality preparation to get ready for a playoff game.
Umpire's taking a time out here. Off we go again.
But as we said earlier, Nick, I think Beeston will be pleased to have got to the playoffs under the circumstances and the way they've worked this new squad.
Yes, I think there's an element of truth in that, but having got there, they won't want to put up anything less than a competitive performance.
That's right.
Whether they end up playing against Surbiton or Hampstead and Westminster, over an hour of hockey, you've always got a chance, haven't you?
Yes, yeah. They've got James Sutcliffe to come back in. He's injured and has had a good season, his first year at Beeston. So they'll be looking forward to getting him back.
Any news on his fitness?
I think he's all right. I just don't think he was ready for this week. It's better to be safe than sorry with him, really.
Oh, for sure, with the important games still to come.
Wimbledon still trying for a fourth.
Well, that really would be rubbing salt into the Beeston wounds here. They're just holding the ball up down in that top left hand corner as far as they're concerned. Exactly where they want to be. The dying embers of this one. A really good result this for Wimbledon on their travels.
Yes, the effect on them of missing players in the early part of the season is quite noticeable. They're by far one of the form teams of this last few weeks.
And the final whistle has gone here at the Nottingham Hockey Centre, and we can confirm the scoreline as Beeston 0, Wimbledon 3. Another hard day at the office here for Beeston against a rampant and well organised Wimbledon team who started the game at a very fast pace and barely let that pace drop throughout the 70 minutes. So confirmation of the full-time scoreline for you here. Beeston 0, Wimbledon 3. Steve, a fair reflection on things?
I think that's right. It is. The finishing from Wimbledon was good. Their defensive work was solid and broke down most of what Beeston tried to do. And it was very workmanlike and organised. And so, yes, I think that is a fair result.
So just one more game in the normal league season to come as far as Beeston are concerned. Their long trip down into Kent for Sevenoaks. That's next weekend, and I'll be hoping for a change in their fortunes. But final confirmation of the scoreline here: Beeston 0, Wimbledon 3. So from Steve Musson and myself, Nick Irvine, thanks for your company during the season of BeeTV coverage from the Nottingham Hockey Centre. We hope very much you'll be back here again for next season. Back down the left-hand side, not hanging about, that was Phil Roper, one of the galaxy of international stars. Enjoyed having a word with Phil's father, Keith Roper, who was an last week. He used to put that behind him. New day, and it's starting with a clean sheet, of course. Out it comes. Flick goes in. Hudgman does well with the left foot. It'll be a long call. Oh, lovely bit of skill on the ball by Beeston. Worked into the circle. Well, a dive in at the far post there. Wasn't far away from getting the telling. Nice work.
Very nice. Too easy to get through, though, from the Beeston point of view.
Carving away through the fence. Shot comes in. And we've got our first goal here. Well, you could see it coming. A lovely finish.
Although that's not helpful. That's quite a shot. Some power behind that, and
Before telling you they hadn't ruled out.
absolutely.
The playoff.
Yes.
Maybe this is the motivation they're finding. Gleeson. Nice
Now this is a good position.
Deception. Fires one in.
Come on forwards. Need to get down for that to try and get something on it.
It's a 0. Wimbledon 1.
Good turnover there for Beeston.
Beeston just starting to come good in these closing minutes of the first half. What a chance here! Oh, how has that stayed out? Well, what an opportunity that was. It's a long corner. But no, you're right.
As well.
They've been good up to a point. But
Yes.
in and around the circle, they've been strangely off their game. And there's the second goal. And Wimbledon taking full advantage there. Beeston's defence. Ball bouncing around. It's not clear. Wimbledon back on the ball again.
Very scrappy.
And it's another penalty corner. Very untidy play there, deep in the... they want that sort of grandstand finish here. They've got about 12 minutes to go,
Yes.
and they've got one back.
Oh.
Or have they? No, it's been chalked off by the umpire. Again, acknowledging the signal from this this near side. More frustrating.
And they've won it. Now.
Can they make something of this one? They have to believe that they will get opportunities in these closing stages.
Well, they've got a corner.
Well, that's a start. That at least is a start. Can they make something of it here? Yes, the service to the Beeston top players has not been great today. Oh, what about that for a finish? And Wimbledon finishing the game off in real style here.